Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Emily. Emily was a happy child who loved playing outside with her friends, reading books, and going on adventures with her parents. One day, Emily's parents took her on a trip to the countryside. They stayed in a cozy cottage surrounded by rolling hills, tall trees, and a sparkling river. Emily was thrilled to explore the new surroundings and excited to discover all the things the countryside had to offer. The first day of their trip, Emily and her parents went for a walk in the woods. Emily felt like she was in a magical world as she walked through the trees, admiring the colorful leaves and listening to the birds chirping. Suddenly, Emily heard a faint cry for help coming from somewhere deep in the woods. "Did you hear that?" Emily asked her parents, her heart racing. "Hear what, honey?" her father replied, looking around. "I heard someone crying for help," Emily said, pointing in the direction of the sound. Emily's parents listened carefully, and after a few seconds, they heard it too. They quickly followed the sound, and after a short while, they stumbled upon a little lost puppy. "Oh no! The poor thing," Emily's mother exclaimed, picking up the shivering puppy. The puppy was dirty and covered in mud, but it had a bright pink collar with a name tag that read Rosie. Emily and her parents knew they had to help Rosie find her way back home. They searched the woods for any signs of Rosie's owner, but they didn't find anything. Emily suggested they take Rosie back to their cottage and see if they could find her owner through social media. Emily spent the rest of the day playing with Rosie and taking care of her. She gave her a warm bath and a cozy bed to sleep in. Rosie was so grateful to have found a new friend in Emily. The next day, Emily and her parents went to the nearby village to ask if anyone knew who Rosie belonged to. They posted pictures of the little puppy on social media, and they even made flyers to put up around the village. They searched high and low but had no luck in finding Rosie's owner. Days turned into weeks, and Emily and her parents grew more and more attached to Rosie. Emily loved playing with her and taking her for walks in the countryside. They even taught her a few tricks, like how to fetch a stick and roll over. But as much as Emily and her parents loved having Rosie around, they knew they couldn't keep her forever. They needed to find her owner, or at least someone who could take care of her properly. One day, Emily and her parents received a call from a woman who saw their flyer. She said her name was Mrs. Jones, and she was Rosie's owner. Mrs. Jones had been on vacation when Rosie ran away from her pet sitter. She was overjoyed to hear that Rosie was safe and sound. Emily and her parents took Rosie to Mrs. Jones's house, and when Rosie saw her owner, she wagged her tail furiously and ran towards her. Mrs. Jones hugged Rosie tightly and thanked Emily and her parents for taking care of her precious puppy. Emily and her parents were happy to see Rosie reunited with her owner. But they were also sad to say goodbye. They had grown so attached to Rosie and would miss her dearly. As they drove back to their cottage, Emily's mother said, "We did a good thing by taking care of Rosie. We may have only had her for a short time, but we made a big difference in her life." The next few days were quiet without Rosie around. Emily and her parents went on walks, read books, and played games, but they couldn't help but feel like something was missing. Then one day, Emily's parents surprised her with a new puppy of her own. They went to the animal shelter and adopted a sweet little terrier mix with big brown eyes and floppy ears. Emily named her new puppy Lily, and from that day on, the two became inseparable. Lily loved going on adventures with Emily and playing with her toys. Emily taught Lily how to sit, stay, and even how to do a little dance. Emily's parents were happy to see their daughter so happy with her new furry friend. The rest of Emily's trip to the countryside was filled with fun and new memories with Lily by her side. They went on hikes, played in the river, and even had a picnic with the other families staying in the cottages nearby. As the trip came to an end, Emily was sad to leave the countryside and her new friends behind. But she knew she would always have the memories and the love she shared with Rosie and Lily. When they arrived back home, Emily couldn't wait to show her friends and classmates her new puppy. Lily quickly became a hit at school, and Emily was proud to show off her tricks and playful personality. Years went by, and Emily grew up with Lily by her side. They went through good times and bad, but they always had each other's backs. Lily was a constant source of love and comfort for Emily, and she cherished every moment with her. Emily never forgot the lessons she learned from her experience with Rosie. She knew that even the smallest acts of kindness could make a big difference in someone's life, even if it was just for a short time. As Emily grew older, she continued to help animals in need, volunteering at animal shelters and donating to animal charities. She wanted to make sure that every animal, just like Rosie, had a chance to find a loving home and a caring family. In the end, Emily realized that the memories and the love she shared with Rosie and Lily were the greatest gifts she could ever receive. They taught her the importance of compassion, kindness, and friendship, lessons that she would carry with her for the rest of her life. As Emily continued to grow, she became more and more involved in animal welfare causes. She started volunteering at local animal shelters, helping to care for dogs, cats, and other animals who had been abandoned or mistreated. She also started donating a portion of her allowance to animal charities, and encouraged her friends and family to do the same. One day, while volunteering at the shelter, Emily met a dog named Max. Max was a large, scruffy-looking mutt with a big heart and a gentle disposition. He had been brought in as a stray, and had been at the shelter for several months without finding a permanent home. Emily felt an instant connection with Max, and spent hours playing with him and taking him on walks. She knew that she couldn't adopt him herself, as her family already had Lily, but she was determined to find him a loving family. She started spreading the word about Max, sharing his story on social media and telling everyone she knew about him. She even made a video of Max playing with some of his toys and posted it on YouTube, hoping to attract potential adopters. After several weeks of sharing Max's story, Emily finally got a call from a family who was interested in adopting him. They came to meet Max at the shelter, and it was love at first sight. Emily was overjoyed to see Max finally find a loving home, and she knew that he would be happy there. Over the years, Emily continued to work for animal welfare causes, volunteering at shelters, donating money and supplies, and raising awareness about animal cruelty and neglect. She also became involved in advocating for animal rights, speaking out against practices like animal testing and factory farming. Emily's work and dedication didn't go unnoticed. She was eventually recognized by local animal welfare organizations for her efforts, and even received a national award for her contributions to animal welfare causes. But for Emily, the real reward was seeing animals like Max find loving homes and happy lives. She knew that her work had made a difference in the lives of countless animals, and that was all the motivation she needed to keep going. As she looked back on her life, Emily realized that her love for animals had taught her so much about compassion, kindness, and the importance of standing up for what you believe in. She knew that these lessons would stay with her for the rest of her life, and she was grateful for every animal she had ever met. In the end, Emily knew that she had made a difference in the world, even if it was just a small one. And she was proud of the person she had become, thanks to the love and lessons she had learned from the animals she had met along the way.